there, I thought I was at a different meeting. Mr. Roastmaster. Fellow Roastmasters and giggly guests. He was making me the butt of a short joke because I happen to be smaller in stature than the average height. You know, don't worry, I've heard about it before, and when I do hear it, it makes me be less affable than I would be otherwise. But I'm going to ask a question today. How short is short? Let's put things in perspective. In 1999, the National Center for Health Statistics said that the average height of a man in America is 5 foot 9.2 inches tall. Fast forward 10 years. In 2009, today, the website Disabled World indicates that the average height of a man in America today is 5 foot 10.2 inches tall. What that means is the average height of a man in America has grown by 1 full inch. You guys in here that are 5 foot 9 inches tall thinking you were hot stuff back 10 years ago. Today, you're short. You are short. Now, you think I'm exaggerating. If you were to go to the Denali Alps at 5 foot 9 inches tall, there the average man's height is 6 foot 1 inches tall. Bucko, you're short by about 4 inches. Just imagine, you can find out what it's like to be referred to as short stuff, pygmy, little man. And you can find out what it's like to go through what we go through. And also, you'd also possibly respond in a manner that may not be so positive, and people have categorized a response that we might have that's not so positive as short man syndrome. Now, short man syndrome, it's actually defined as an angry male of below average height who feels it necessary to act out in an attempt to gain respect and recognition from others to compensate for his abnormally short stature. Now, let's look at our history here and see if we can identify men in our past that could qualify as being men afflicted with short man syndrome. Nikita Khrushchev, leader of Russia during the Cold War, in the early 1960s, bringing us this close to nuclear disaster. Could he possibly have been acting out due to names he was called because he was only 5 foot 3 inches tall? George Babyface Nelson, reputed mobster and public enemy #1 in the 1930s. A man who didn't hesitate to kill lawmen and innocent bystanders alike. Could he have been reacting to bullying when he was a kid, since he was only 5 foot 5? And I won't even begin to talk about the Marquis de Sade at 5 foot 3. You can just imagine what happened to him to end up with the result he did. Unfortunately, it's not just shorter bad guys. Short man syndrome has been an easy reason to blame anything on short men, even if a taller man does the same thing. I'll give you an example. Tall guy steps out of a new Camaro. Hey, check out that guy with the Camaro, huh? That's a sweet ride. I wonder how much he makes. Short guy steps out of the new Camaro. Dude, look at that little guy with the Camaro. Talking about compensation. Most of you have never had to put up with the taunts, the bullying, the embarrassment by your own friends, neighbors, and classmates, all because many of you are average height or taller. You've never experienced those feelings, but they exist for some of us more than others. How short is short? NOSA, the National Organization of Short Stature Adults, is a united organization of short men and women from around the globe committed to opposing heightism in society. They have determined that a male of short stature is one who is 5 foot 3 inches tall or less, based on guidelines from the American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists. Research tells us the following are natural results of being short. #1, a man who is 5 foot 5 is 50% more likely to suffer extreme envy problems compared to a man who is 6 foot or taller. #2, shorter men are on the average considerably less than taller men. #3, small guys are far more unlikely to be able to find a girlfriend and thus lose their virginity later. #4, they are far more likely to be unmarried and suffer from depression. And #5, tall salesmen were more successful than their shortest colleagues. CEOs on the Fortune 500 average 3 inches taller than the average man in the United States. Face it, tall guys get the big bucks. What about us short guys? We all have those problems. At the absolute worst, most of us have had difficulty finding a romantic partner. Even short girls don't want to date. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. God help those short men who are not as confident, sexy, and good-looking as me and Tom Cruise. But hey, we can still identify with the misery associated with being short in stature. After all, how do you think Tom felt when his wife, Nicole Kidman, was asked how life was like after divorcing Tom? And she said, to a national magazine, she said, well, I can go back to wearing high heels now. Bitch. Even we good-looking, successful short guys take it in the short sometimes. So what can we do to fix it? In all my research, very few people had ideas on how to permanently correct this problem. Growth hormone pills, psychotherapy, nothing seems to work. But I came across a column written by a female author. This column was entitled, Let's End Short Men's Syndrome Now. She speaks of this syndrome as an unfortunate reality of men who have spent their entire lives trying to overcompensate for their height or wallowing in a feeling of inadequacy. So she says she is writing this blog entry as a request to women of all heights to show a little love to a short man today. And following the path and theme of success, I hope this woman is successful in her endeavors. Because let me tell you, she also says, I am also asking that from this day forth, we all agree to refrain from saying anything to short men like, this ride requires you to be 6 foot tall. When you grow another foot, give me a call. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for the women who will one day embrace this short man and have to deal with all the short man issues it helped to create. If women could just agree to come together and create a united front, we can end short man syndrome now. This unnamed author repeats herself one more time as she ends her blog. Ladies, please show some love to a short man today. Ladies, on behalf of every man 5 foot 9 inches tall or shorter, please show some love to a short man today.